everybody. Welcome back to Crime Weekly. I'm Stephanie Harlow.
And I'm Derek Levasseur.
Today we are jumping into part 6 of the Gypsy Rose and Dee Dee Blanchard case, and it's going to be a long episode, so we are going to jump right in.
Yes.
Today we are listening to and discussing the police interviews of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn, and we're going to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot to discuss because I had to watch all of these interviews multiple times. And they're each, I think, 2.5 hours each. So I had to figure out what was the most important and cut it down. And it was all good. I mean, these were police interrogations where from start, it was action packed from start to finish. So it was very hard to narrow down which clips to put in here to discuss. But I think I did it. And I think this is going to be Derek's first time seeing a lot of this footage. So I'm excited because especially after we discussed the messages between Gypsy and Nick last week, I think this is going to really add to that and really round out what Gypsy's motive possibly was here. So, I mean, we're going to get right into it. We don't have a lot to talk about beforehand. I just want to say that even looking at the circumstances of Gypsy's police interview versus Nick's police interview, you can already see a difference in the way that they were treated, in the way they were perceived, even though at that time the police had no way of knowing who did what, who actually held the knife that killed Dee Dee Blanchard. They didn't know what had happened. They hadn't talked to them yet. Nicholas was put in an interrogation room. He was sat at a table. He was cuffed. Gypsy's in a room with a nice couch. She's given a stuffed animal to hold and play with, even though she's a 23-year-old grown-ass woman. They talk to her like she's a little girl. They give her a blanket when she's cold. They're consistently checking in on her to make sure she's okay, see if she's hungry, see if she has to use the bathroom. It's a very drastic difference in how these two people were treated during their police interviews. And at this point, both Gypsy and Nick are being held at the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, but they were going to be questioned by two Greene County, Missouri detectives, Stan Hancock and Angela Maholi. So as Gypsy's waiting in her interrogation room, she's got to wait because Stan and Angela haven't gotten there yet from Missouri, right? So she's waiting. She's chatting with a young police officer who'd been assigned to stand outside of the open door of the room that she was being kept in. And keep in mind, at this time, Gypsy had no idea that she was suspected of anything, right? The police tracked the Facebook post to Nick Godejohn's house. They bust in, they arrest them, they take them away, and that's where we end up. And she doesn't really know exactly what's going on, but I think she is thinking to herself, they're never going to think I did anything. They're never going to think that I could possibly be guilty of something like this. And she's got to sort of pretend that she doesn't even know her mother's dead. And so that's the way that she's acting. She's playing dumb. She has no idea what happened to her mother. And even though this young police officer standing outside of her door is not going to be questioning her in regards to the case, he's just watching her until the Greene County Sheriff's Office people get there. Gypsy starts to build her narrative with him. She starts to tell him the story that she and Nick had agreed upon, right? Because they had agreed on a lie that they were going to tell if they got caught. And the lie was going to be that Dee Dee had kicked Gypsy out. Gypsy's wandering the streets alone. And so Nick takes a bus to Springfield so that he can bring Gypsy home to live with himself and his parents in Wisconsin because she's been removed from the house by Dee Dee. She has no place to stay. That's the narrative that they had agreed on. And that is the way she starts with this police officer. Are you ready to dive in?
I am, just to put a disclaimer on it, because to answer your question, or at least the assumption you're under, I have not seen any of this footage other than what we've already shown throughout the series.
Which was very brief, yeah.
Very brief. So I'm starting to feel a certain way. I'm still coming in here, giving everyone a fair shake. I'll call balls and strikes. I will say some of you may not love when we have B-roll. I know because you voice it in the comments, but I think it's really necessary here. Stephanie can tell you how she feels about these people. And listen, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. Stephanie is not Team Gypsy.
Nope.
And so the argument could be made that as she's presenting this interrogation to you, that she's biased, right? And so to separate her from that and to separate me from that, why not just hear it directly from the horse's mouth? So this is why I would suggest, we love when you guys listen on audio, but even if you listen on audio, go over and watch the interrogation footage from this episode, because it's not only about what they say, it's how they say it, and it's also the body language of when they're saying it. So you don't have to be a body language expert to just pick up on basic behavior as they're being interviewed. And so if you go watch the footage for yourself, you can come to your own conclusion. So it is going to be a lot of B-roll tonight. It's absolutely necessary. I would strongly recommend, if you can, go watch the video version so you can kind of see what we're saying. If I bring up certain things about their positioning, how they're saying it, the position of their eye, we can't really see their eyes, but the way their heads are facing, how their legs are crossed or not crossed, all that can be important, especially when we're developing a baseline on what's normal for them and what may be out of the ordinary for them, as the interview starts to include questions that could implicate them in a crime.
And I guarantee you that the majority of people listening to this have not seen these interrogation videos. I guarantee you.
Even people who are on Team Gypsy, they may not. So this is going to be important.
I don't see how you could be on Team Gypsy and see these interrogation videos.
There's that bias.
That's
right
all I'm
there.
gonna say.
There's the bias, and that's why we're not allowing you to translate these transcripts, because you're going to come up with this whiny, really like victim-y voice for Gypsy, and it's all sarcastic.
I don't know what I did, officer.
There you go. So you're out. You're fired.
What I'm saying is, okay, the reason I came into this series feeling some sort of way about Gypsy is because I've already seen this footage. I've already saw that. I already read the messages. I already knew all that stuff. And that's why it makes it hard to be in complete support of her as this innocent bystander. That's all.
We can see. We're on episode. We're
dude,
episode
wait
6.
till you're done watching the footage. You'll be right there with me, my friend.
Maybe I will, but we will get there. But yes, to answer your question, I'm ready to go. We got a lot to cover. Let's all see it for the first time.
We're going to play this first clip, and we're going to obviously stop, and we're going to react to some of these things because it calls for it, right? But this is Gypsy pretending she doesn't know that her mother was just stabbed to death, acting like everything's peaches and cream.
I'm originally from Missouri, and I came here. My mom kicked me out of the house because she was like, well, it's time to, grow up. So I got out on my own, and I called my boyfriend, and he lives in Big Bend, and he came down to Springfield to pick me up. Anyway, we take the Greyhound bus, and everything seems fine. Our bus got delayed a little bit, but we got here okay. And then a couple days went by, perfectly normal. So all of a sudden we wake up to a loud knock at the door. And like, Waukesha County Police, you're under arrest. And well, he's the only one that's under arrest. I'm not really sure why I'm here. And anyway, they took us, and I'm here. And I don't know what's going on with him.
Okay. Sorry, I can try and
It's okay.
for you. I'm sure one of the detectives knows a lot more than I do.
Right. Then I had to go to the hospital and get some medicine because I have a seizure disorder.
Okay.
That's what kind of knocked me out.
Busy day, huh?
It's kind of weird though, people seeing you in handcuffs, they give you this weird look, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, okay, I didn't kill nobody, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I didn't do nothing. I'm a good girl.
Obviously, like, she's going with the narrative that they agreed on, but she's also sprinkling in things, right? To distance herself from Nicholas Godejohn. The first words she says to someone at this police station is basically like, I don't know what I did. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. She's like, he got arrested, not me. Yeah. I don't know what I'm here for. And then it was so funny because, and I know it might be hard to hear, and hopefully Shannon can clean up some of this audio, but she's like, it's so weird. People see you in handcuffs and you just want to be like, I didn't do anything. I didn't kill anybody. I don't do drugs. I'm a good girl.
Okay, well, it looks like there's some transcripts underneath it too, like captions underneath it.
Yeah, there's some. They're not super good, but she's a good girl. She never killed anybody, but allegedly she has no idea that her mother is even dead. So why is she even saying? Why would you even say that? You're giving yourself away. She also mentions she has a seizure disorder and she needs medicine. So it's convenient. She claims that her mother made her pretend to be sick and she was never sick, and none of these things were actually true. But when it suits her, when she wants to appear weak and vulnerable and the victim. Oh, she has a seizure disorder and she's very sick and she needs help. So it's like you could say she learned to use this to garner sympathy from people through her mother, but you would also say, hey, your mother's not here making you do this anymore. So why are you? And what I also want to specifically say is in none of these clips and in none of these interviews with Gypsy or Nick will you hear either of them say her mother abused her. Her mother made her pretend to be sick. Her mother did. Yes, her mother made her go in a wheelchair. Nick is going to say, briefly, he'll say something like, yeah, her mother forced her to be in a wheelchair when she was at home. But never are they like, oh, she abused her. She made her do all these medical procedures. Gypsy never says this to the police, ever, ever. In fact, all she says is, I love my mother. She's my best friend. We had our issues, but we worked through them. I would never have done anything. And you'd think at this point, when it's all said and done, you're sitting in the police station, your mother's dead. If you were going to come out and be like, you know what? Yeah, I did do it. We did this, but I was being abused. I was being harmed. I had to save myself. They never say that, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say that much later as I start to hear her actual interrogation. I will say here, it's a slippery slope, right? Because you have basically what it appears to be maybe a patrolman who's outside the door guarding her. And she more than likely has not been Mirandized yet. So anything she says at this point, yes, it's on camera, it can be used, but that law enforcement officer has to make sure he doesn't elicit some type of response based on even just a basic question.
And
like,
you can tell he's trying to avoid.
He's trying to avoid that
yeah.
landmine. He could screw up an entire murder investigation. So he did the right thing here, and she's voluntarily putting this information forward because she doesn't know his standing in the police department. She's trying to get ahead of the narrative. She's probably thinking, oh, he'll relay what I'm saying to her. I'm trying to get people on my side. I will say, just hearing this little bit based on what was described last episode, it is a tough pill to swallow, because if everything is the way it was described by Nicholas Godejohn and even her, she clearly knows why she's there. And as you just mentioned, and I think it's a very strong argument, if she comes in there and she's crying saying, I know why we're here. I know why we're here. I know what happened, but here's the reason why. I knew this was coming. Here's the reason why. Much stronger argument for her. But she's going with the, gee golly, I don't know anything. If you're to believe everything that we've heard, it's a tough video to watch,
it's
because
manipulative.
you know she's bullshitting.
Yeah.
So we'll keep going, but that's my first thought.
All right. Well, Gypsy and this police officer keep chatting for a while. She asks him, are there any movie theaters around? Because if she's going to move to a place, she has to make sure there's a movie theater, because she really wants to see the new Star Wars movie that's coming out in December, right? If you're going to move to someplace, Gypsy, you are moving to someplace. It's called prison, all right? It's called prison. She's like literally so delusional at this point and thinks that she's so good at getting her way and getting out of things that she's thinking, I'm just going to, put on a high-pitched voice, do a little crying, act like I have no idea what's happening. They're going to release me, and I'm going to be living here in Waukesha County going to see the Star Wars movies. So they then begin talking about Universal Studios. Gypsy brags about all the cool things that she and her mother were able to do when they went to places like this because of her condition. She also gives him a master class on Harry Potter and the different wizarding houses.
This past January, I got a chance to meet some of the cast.
You did?
Because my mom and I went on vacation to Universal Studios.
Okay, so the Harry Potter land or what?
Yes, and it was the Harry Potter Expo. So I got to meet the girl that plays Luna. I got to meet the twins, the Weasley twins.
Really?
Dumbledore and Hagrid.
Wow, that must have been pretty cool.
It was. The twins are very nice. I mean, they're all very nice, but the twins actually fit their personality on the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Basically the same people?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
My mom and I bought the exclusive package, and that gives you one special night that they shut down the parks to where you and only the people that bought that package are let in. It's closed off to everyone else.
So it's like the VIP experience.
And they have this special event where they bring food out, and you can go walk around, eat free ice cream, and it's just the whole thing to yourself.
Really? How many people do they give that to? Is it noticeably
I think
less
it's
crowded?
100 packages. they sell. And they had a lot of people that didn't get the experience that me and my mom did, because a lot of people were rushing to get the autographs. On the package it said that you get a guaranteed meet and greet. That's actually not true. And Pottermore was there, the website, and they were sorting people. I got sorted into Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
And for years I've been a Gryffindor. I was having a major breakdown over there. I'm like, no, I'm a Gryffindor. Every quiz I'm taking is Gryffindor. I cannot be Hufflepuff. And the funniest thing is you would think that Gryffindor is righteous and they do the right thing. And they're brave, but they're also good. But a lot of people telling you they're more like Slytherin than you would think. It's just there are more bad wizards that come from Slytherin than Gryffindor.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to insert this clip, and there's a lot more I could have inserted, but this specific clip, because I want people to understand, Gypsy loved the benefits that she got from the con that her mother was running. She loved it. She felt it made her feel special. It made her feel like, oh, I'm not one of these peons that has to go into the park when all these other people, I get to go in special. It's a special VIP thing. Like, she was very big on that. And also I wanted to show you how casually and happily she can just chat away, knowing not only that her mother's dead, but what happened to her mother, heard it happening to her mother. This is not a normal, I think, way to be in the wake of something like that.
Yeah, I think when you have more context, like I just said in the previous clip, when you know what's already transpired and you hear her talking about this in this way, kind of lighthearted, it does put a bad taste in your mouth. But I don't think we have to look too deep as to why she's doing it. First off, and this isn't an excuse, we have to remember that this is someone, and there's no disputing this. I think everyone agrees with this. This person is someone who is working at a lower emotional intelligence than her age dictates. That is true. There's no doubt about it, whether it's the chromosomal disorder, whether it's her upbringing, or combination of the two. It's a fact, okay? So there's probably some truth into here, what she's talking about, but there's no doubt in my mind, at least, she's trying to make herself more relatable, more friendly to this officer because she's building a rapport with them, hoping that'll correlate with the other officers.
They'll be like, oh, we think she did something. He'd be like, I talked to that girl for an hour. She's
Seems
the
like a great
sweetest
person.
thing. She's the sweetest little button I've ever seen. There's no way she could have done this. She's putting her pieces on the chessboard very intentionally and carefully.
There's no doubt, regardless of what you think about Dee Dee, one thing that was passed on to Gypsy and that was conveyed to her and also instilled in her throughout her childhood was how to lie, was how to garner sympathy. She's done it her whole life, Gypsy Rose. She's done this with people time and time again to the point where they've gotten free houses, free trips, and a bunch of news attention. This is what she does. This is her wheelhouse. She is doing exactly what she's done for most of her childhood, now into her adulthood, and she's pulling from the playbook. No doubt in my mind. We're going to keep going, but before we do, let's take our first break.
So Derek and I talk about IQ Bar all the time, and I think we can both safely say, and this isn't just because they're a sponsor of Crime Weekly, we use their products every single day. Love them.
Yeah, listen, we love a lot of the products we use, but this is one that's near the top of the list.
So IQ Bar has their protein bars, they have their IQ mix sticks, and they also have their IQ gel mushroom coffees, and these are all great products. IQ Bar refills and renourishes, satisfying hunger with no sugar crash. IQ Mix is their hydration sticks. It offers 3 times as many electrolytes as sports drinks, also boosts mood and mental clarity because it has magnesium and lion's mane. We love IQ Bar, all of their products. I highly suggest that you try their limited time flavors for the holiday, the pumpkin spice. Very, very good. And listen, just the fact that Derek and I use this stuff every day, every single day, it should be enough for you to at least try it out for yourself. Derek's going to tell you how.
Yeah, we were having a conversation at the office earlier today. My assistant Ashley came in and said, hey, I just want to confirm it's okay that I keep eating those IQ bars that are in the office, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's what they're there for. She's like, okay, I
I would
just
have said, "No, they're mine."
but listen, maybe Ashley, and Ashley's going to be listening to this. Ashley, maybe you got to hop on here and get this discount right now. And this discount not only goes for you, Ashley, it goes for everyone listening and watching, because right now IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners and viewers 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text weekly to 64,000. Text weekly to 64,000. One more time, that's weekly to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
All right, we're back. So then, Gypsy's chatting with this police officer. Then eventually Detective Sergeant Stan Hancock from Greene County arrives to talk to Gypsy, who told him she was 19 years old and that her date of birth was June 27th, 1995, even though Gypsy has since claimed that she found out how old she actually was long before that, and that was one of the reasons she was so mad at her mother. She still gives a false age to the police. So in his report, Detective Hancock notes that Gypsy had a hospital bracelet on at that time, and that hospital bracelet said that her birth date was July 27th, 1995, which would have made her, 23, her actual age. And he's like, well, what's going on with this? And she's like, I don't know. No idea. I have no idea. So Gypsy told Detective Hancock she had no idea why she was there at the police station. She said she'd been homeschooled, but she could still read. Her comprehension level was good. That's when they Mirandized her. And then early on in the interview, Gypsy told Detective Hancock that she did not have a cell phone. He then notes in his report that later in the interview, she stated she did have a cell phone, but she only used it for Yahoo Messenger and social media sites. So she lied. Now, once again, at the beginning of the interview, Gypsy told Detective Hancock that her mother would never let her use the computer because it wasn't safe. But then he notes in his report that later on in the interview, Gypsy told him she'd met her boyfriend, Nick Godejohn, online, and the way she communicated with him was by using her mother's laptop. Okay, so she lied. Then Detective Hancock informs Gypsy that her mother is dead. And we've already seen a bit of this clip, but I want to play it again as a reminder, especially now after we've seen and read the messages that she was sending to Nicholas Godejohn before the murder.
Yeah, well, this goes back to what I was just saying. She's used to running this playbook, but in those circumstances, most of the time, she's been given the benefit of the doubt. People just believe her because of her appearance, because of what they know.
Because they're not police officers.
They are not detectives.
Yes.
She has not been in this environment before where everything's going to be fact-checked and corroborated and going to be compared and contrast to other statements as well as her actual physical activity when it comes to search history, all that stuff. So although she's a good liar, she hasn't played this game before, and it's showing. But yeah, let's see that clip.
And I want you to understand that you need to be honest with me. And if you're involved in anything that I'm about ready to tell you, then you need to tell me. Okay? Your mom's dead. Okay? Now, what I want to ask you is your mom's passed away. Okay? And she's deceased. All right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay? Hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? I want you to understand something, okay? You remember the snowball that we talked about? You remember the pencil that we talked about? I'm going to demonstrate something with a pencil here, okay? Look at me. Look at me for just a second, okay? Sometimes people are going along, you know how you got a pencil? You got the lead here and you got the eraser right here, right? You know what I'm talking about? You've seen a pencil, right? You've used a pencil before, right? Okay? And when you write with a pencil, you write your own story, right? Okay? And you take that pencil and you're writing along with your story. Well, sometimes some people make mistakes when they write stuff down, don't they? We've all made mistakes. You've made mistakes. I've made mistakes, right? You ever made a mistake in your life? And I've made mistakes in my life. And hang on just a second, okay? When you're writing this stuff down, all of a sudden you make a mistake. Well, what do you do with that mistake? You take that pencil and you flip it over and you start erasing stuff, okay? And you erase it and you recorrect it. And you take that pencil and then you rewrite your story, okay? And I think that's where you're at with this tonight, okay? That you have a chance to rewrite your story. And I think that's what you can do, is you can rewrite your story tonight, okay? Like I said earlier, I don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. I don't think that's you at all. And you're not out here, doing things that are so bad that nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to be around you. I don't think that's you. Okay? okay? But what I do think, okay, what I do think is there's some stuff going on that you and I need to talk about. And why these things happen, okay? And that's where we're at with this, okay? Now, I want you to understand something, that you need to be, look at me, okay? Look at me for just a second, okay? You're in a situation where you can help yourself right now, okay? And that's what you need to do, okay? You've got to help yourself, okay? Because the more and more you let that snowball roll down that hill and get bigger, what's going to happen is it's going to explode. And that's what's going to happen with you, you know. You don't want that, do you? I don't think you do. I wouldn't want that. So we've got to rewrite history. We've got to rewrite some things, don't we? Okay? And I think that's where we're at with all this, all right? What happened with your mom that night?
I don't know what happened with my mom.
Okay, you listen to me, okay, sweetheart? You know what happened to your mom, okay? You know exactly. Sweetheart, listen to me. Let's not go down that road of taking your pencil and writing a bunch of mistakes down. And then when you get to a certain point, that paper's gone, and guess what? You can't erase it, can you?
I know.
You can't erase it anymore. Do you want that?
Yes.
I don't think you do.
Yes.
I think you're smart enough to understand where we're at with this, okay? I think you know, okay? And I know that you know, all right? I wouldn't be here if I didn't know. And I know the answer to a lot of these questions, okay? I already know them, okay? I know them, and I'm giving you a chance to be honest with me, okay? Because you don't want this thing to spiral out of control, okay? Your boyfriend's in here, okay?
Oh, he's here.
He's in here, okay? All right? And do you think that we've not talked to people?
No, I know.
Listen to me before you say a whole lot. Do not dig yourself in a bunch of lies, because what's going to happen, that snowball's going to get so huge, sweetheart, that it's going to explode on you, and you're never, ever going to dig yourself out of it. Do you understand me?
I understand.
So I want to know, okay, why?
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 Why what?
Why did you guys hurt your mom? Okay,
We would never
sweetheart,
hurt
look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Uh-huh.
I've got kids. I've been doing this for a long time.
I know, sir.
And I want you to understand something. Don't dig yourself that hole. Don't go down that path, okay? Because listen to me for a second. You go down that path, and what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if you go down that path? It's not a path to go down.
If anything, I don't tell lies.
Okay, then don't sit here and lie to me, because if you do, what's going to happen is it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're not going to remember the ones that you've told other people, okay? The other people that I've probably already talked to. You understand that?
I understand.
Okay. Why?
Would you like me to start from the beginning?
I only want you to start from the beginning, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. And I'm glad you're making that progress, okay? I'm proud of you for that. But the first thing that we need to get out of the way right now is why. That's the biggest thing. You've got friends that love you.
Of course
and
I
care
know.
for you.
I know. And
You and your mom
yes,
have
of
friends
course.
that care for you.
I
And
know.
you know what? They're down the bottom of this hill with that snowball, and they're asking all these questions. They're asking why.
I know.
Now, help me give them an answer as to why. Okay? You have to give me an answer as to why, because they are so concerned about you.
I know. I have a lot of friends in Missouri. I know that.
Okay.
And I would never hurt my mom.
Okay, sweetheart,
I never would.
do you really want to dig yourself? You're digging yourself deeper. Okay?
No, seriously, I would never hurt her.
Listen to me. Okay. I don't play around with that. Okay. I'm not going to play around with this. Okay.
I didn't do
Listen to
anything.
me. Listen to me. Don't let that snowball get bigger, because that's what you're doing right now. Okay. You have a chance. You have the opportunity right here and right now. Because once I walk out that door and that opportunity's gone, guess what? It's gone. It's just like when that paper's taken away, when you're writing that pencil, you don't have a chance to erase that mistake.
Sure, I have a million questions right now.
Okay,
So,
and you know what? And I'm proud of you for wanting to ask those million questions. And you know what? We can answer those, okay?
okay,
But we got to get down to the bottom of why,
okay.
okay? The why. And your friends are very, very concerned about you. They all love you. But guess what?
Sure,
Those friends are standing at the bottom of that hill.
I
And
understand.
that snowball
I
is getting
understand.
ready to crush them, because They want to know why.
It's very, very clearly. You think that it's me? Why would you think that it's me? I have always thought my mom and I are best friends.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Please don't get yourself in this hole. And that's what you're doing. You're still doing it. Okay? You're the only one that knows the why. And your friends.
Sir?
Do you really want to disappoint your friends?
No, of course not.
Okay, then why?
May I please speak?
Well, when we get to the why this happened,
I don't even really know what happened.
Yeah, this is definitely the clip we already watched, and we got a lot of clips to cover, so I'm not going to go long here. This is a tactic. I appreciate what the detective's doing. His analogies aren't that great, but listen, everyone has their own approach. But mainly what he's doing, and this isn't to be politically, in that game at all, but politicians do this as well. Where they're going to say a lot, but they're not really saying much. And what he's trying to prevent here is from her doing too much by just getting off path. He has probably at this point already spoken to Nicholas Godejohn.
No, he has not, actually.
He hasn't. Okay. Well, it's a little interesting than how he's this confident, but he's already developed an opinion on this investigation based on the evidence that he has. I don't know what he has. I don't know, but he already knows that she knows more than she's saying. I will say more than likely he's seen the text messages.
Maybe. He doesn't talk to Nick Godejohn. The other detective is talking to Nick Godejohn at the same time that Gypsy's being spoken to.
That's
and
odd that they're doing it at the same time, though.
You'll see towards the end, he leaves the room, talks to the other detective, comes back in, and plays hardball. Okay, so that's when he's really going hard. Right now, you're right, he does seem confident, but
he's overly confident because he wants to portray that level of confidence to her. Listen, stop the cute stuff. I'm not here asking you this question because I'm guessing. I already know the answers to the questions I'm asking you. I just want to know why.
Well, I think it's because they knew she was the one who made those Facebook posts.
Well, not only the Facebook post, Stephanie, but to get the arrest warrant, they had to get that signed by a judge.
And then she ran away with Nick, right?
Well, but the ran away is whatever, but they have messages between her and Nicholas Godejohn describing the murder before it happened. They already have all that. They probably had that in their affidavit, which was signed by a judge. They already know she knows more than she's saying. And if they're good at what they do, they've already looked into the videos that are out there about her and they know her game. So he's not giving her that out. That's all I'll say. Again, we get a lot of clips, but I think this is pretty self-explanatory for most people watching. We get a lot of part-time detectives out there. They get it. They get what's going on here. This detective is trying to keep her on track, not even allowing her a window to say, maybe I'm not involved. That ship has sailed as far as they're concerned.
And he's also babying her a little bit, at times. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for having questions, like encouraging her. I'm on your side. I'm trying to save you from this. We know that it's not, you're not a completely innocent party. Let me help you. Don't make this worse for yourself. We've seen this tactic a million times.
I've had to do it with child molesters and it kills me.
Yeah. Couldn't do that.
I understand where you're coming from. I get it.
I mean, you were a Big Brother player. You have that level of manipulation in you. I don't. Some do. I'm going to sit across the table from somebody like Gypsy, and I'm going to be like, all right, enough.
Yeah. You get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar.
Exactly. But this is why I wouldn't.
Because you don't want her to say lawyer.
Oh, I know. But listen, I can't take it.
You walk in the room, Stephanie, I'm saying lawyer.
Yeah, well, I'm not walking in the room, Derek.
You walk in and you put that piece of paper down the picture like, all right, buddy, tell me what happened. And I'm going to go lawyer.
I already wrote your confession out for you. Just sign it.
Nope. I'm going to say, get her out of here, lawyer.
Yeah, that's why I'm not walking in that room. And listen, I obviously clipped a lot of this, so you cannot tell how long it goes on.
Oh, I'm sure she says a lot without saying anything.
Gypsy denied doing anything wrong for a long time, like the better part of an hour, dude. And even when she does start to open up and tell like a semblance of the truth, quote unquote, her truth, it is a completely different story than we see in the messages between herself and Nicholas Godejohn. So eventually she's like, okay, yeah, I know what happened to my mom, but blah, 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 blah. Completely different story. And it's interesting because she will eventually give a why, because he keeps asking for the why. That's his, he wants the motive.
That's the tactic.
Right.
We don't want to know if, we want to know why.
I don't care how you met this dude. I don't care what hotel you guys stayed at right now. We'll talk about those details later. I need to know why this happened. And she does eventually give a why, but it's not the same why the same motive that she's now giving to everyone. It's not, oh, my mother was horrible to me, my mother abused me, my mother made me do this, my mother made me do that, et cetera, et cetera. It's a completely different reason, a completely different motive that Gypsy gives. And we're going to hear that. And it's kind of what Derek and I have sort of been saying for the last few episodes, especially after reading the text messages.
I came here because my mother kicked me out of my house. She and I were having relationship problems. I guess she wanted me to stay a little girl forever. She didn't really like my boyfriend. And she was like, pretty much, if you want to move to Wisconsin with him, fine, go. And I packed my stuff. She basically wanted me out of the house before then because we kept on having arguments, but I'm not a violent person. I would never ever hurt her. And a lot of our arguments stemmed from being with Nick. And so I just basically chose to come here. I gave him money to come here, and I said, can you please come pick me up? Because my mom's kicking me out of the house real soon. And that's when he asked his mom, could I stay with his mom and him and his stepdad and his little brother? His mom said fine. So anyway, I don't exactly know the exact date he came to Springfield, but I know that I gave him the money to stay at a hotel. And anyway, I let him know that.
Hey, hang on a minute. Okay, we're going in a totally different direction here. Okay, we're going to get back to where we started from. Let's get back to the why. We can talk all night long about this other stuff, and I'll sit here and I'll listen to you, and I'll listen to everything. This investigation is very thorough. Okay. And there's a lot of whys, and you need to answer those whys. Okay. Okay. And your friends, okay?
My friends know me as a sweet
you're right.
And as
you're
I
right.
am.
But you know what? Sometimes sweet people make mistakes. Everybody does, okay? You make mistakes, I make mistakes. But you know what? I'm glad you're not this person that's out here going around and doing this to a lot of other people, okay? I'm glad you're not that person. If you are, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to be in the same room with you if that's you. Okay, but I think what it is, I think there's a lot of frustration in your life. I think there's some things that you and your mom, you've already said that your mom, you kind of had some arguments and you've kind of had some strained relationships, okay?
But we worked through it.
You know what? And you work through it. You're right, you do. But sometimes that can get the better of people, okay? And I think that's kind of where you're at with that. I think that you're stressing your life because your mom wanted you to stay so little all the time. Finally got to a boiling point and you just said, you know what? I'm done. No matter what, Mom, I'm going to go with my boyfriend. I'm going to do whatever I want now. You made a decision, okay?
Yeah.
But we need to get to why this happened to your mom, okay? You know what? People make mistakes every day. You do, I do, we all do. We've established that. Why did this happen?
I don't know.
You do know why it happened, okay?
I don't know why it happened.
Let me tell you something. I walk out that door.
Did she have a heart attack? She was
Hey,
sick.
it could be. We're not going to play those games. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I'm here to do. Okay? Then start being honest with yourself. And start being honest with me. No, you're not. Okay? You're not a bad person. I don't care what anybody's ever said to you. I don't care what your family's ever done to you.
I know, sir.
I don't care that maybe somebody's bullied you or made fun of you.
I don't know if you even know this, but my mom had guardianship papers for me.
Can we talk about why first? And I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Because I've talked to them.
Okay.
And you know what?
What?
There's this group of people that's sitting down here asking me why. Detective Hancock, why? With tears in their eyes. Detective Hancock, why?
Why don't you tell me why, please?
You tell me why, and then I'll tell you why.
I don't know why.
Yes, you do, sweetheart. You know exactly what's going on.
I don't. Please, I don't know what's going on.
Sweetheart, look at me, okay? Stop letting this get out of control. Just stop. Yeah, you do know. And that's smart. I'm proud of you for saying that you know because you do know, okay? Because here's
I'm just wondering, the question you're asking, why? What happened? Why did I come up here? Why did something happen to my mom?
and that's what I'm asking. Why?
She had a lot of medical conditions.
Okay, this is not a medical condition. You know that. It's not a medical condition at all, okay?
And please tell me she did not commit suicide. She had bipolar.
Okay, we're not going to get off on that track. We're not getting off on that track, okay? You know what happened.
No.
You do know what happened. You were there, okay?
Wait, no.
Yes, you were. You were there,
I wasn't there.
okay?
I told you I got kicked out.
You're leaving stuff out. You know something, and you're afraid. You're scared.
I am afraid, and I am
Are you
scared because
afraid?
I don't know what's
So
going
has
on.
somebody threatened you?
No.
Okay. How far are you going to let this snowball get? How big are you going to let this snowball get before it just explodes?
I just want my mom.
I know you do. I know you, sweetheart. I know you love your mom. I have no doubt that you love your mom. Good.
Yeah, there it is. Great job by the detective. He's not letting her off the leash. He's doing what he needs to do. All I'll say is this: she's a liar. We know she's a liar. We know she's trying to get herself out of a situation. She doesn't know what he knows. And I said it in the last break when we talked about the clip. He's seen those DMs. He's seen those messages. He knows the level of involvement she has. I would bet my life on it. If he hasn't talked to Nicholas Godejohn, we read those messages, and that reaction, that visceral reaction that I had to you reading them, is what he's basing this off of. That's how he knows she's lying. So before we keep going, let's take our next break. We'll be right back.
So most people who know me or follow me on social media, they understand I have 4 dogs: Alfie, Doc, Val, Rosie. They're all super important to me. They are a part of my family. They're my kids. So I want to make sure that they're getting the best food. Just like I want to give my kids the best food and make sure that they're eating healthy. I want my dogs, who are my kids, to eat healthy as well. And Sundays is a healthy dog food that's easy to store and serve. Most foods are one or the other, but Sundays is both. Sundays is a fresh dog food made from a short list of human-grade ingredients, and it was co-founded by Dr. Tori Waxman, a practicing veterinarian who tests and formulates every version of each recipe. Sundays contains 90% meat, which is crazy, 10% superfoods, and 0% synthetic nutrients or artificial ingredients. And dog parents report a noticeable health improvement in their pups, including softer fur, fresher breath, better poops, and more energy after switching to Sundays. And when you start a Sunday subscription, you're automatically going to get 20% off and free shipping on every reorder. You can cancel or pause your subscription anytime with their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Every order ships right to your door, so you'll never have to worry about running out of dog food again or having to run out for dog food. So we definitely think you should give it a try. Sundays is offering Crime Weekly listeners an amazing deal right now, and Derek's going to tell you about it.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, you're getting the privilege of seeing my dog Vinny eating Sundays for the first time. As Stephanie said, we like to try these products out. We want to make sure that they're living up to the hype. It's Vinny approved. You guys are good to go. So get 40% off your first order of Sundays by going to sundaysfordogs.com/crimeweekly. That's sundaysfordogs.com/crimeweekly, or you can use the code crimeweekly at checkout.
Okay, so we're back. I think she knows that the detectives at least know how her mother died, right?
Oh, yeah.
So her
Wait,
playing,
it wasn't a suicide?
yeah, her playing this
It
game
wasn't
like,
a heart attack?
did she have a heart attack? She had bipolar. Please don't tell me she committed suicide. This is once again just the, I how could I even possibly know? I wasn't there. And he says, you were there. And she's like, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like,
It
she's
makes
like,
it more true if you whisper.
yeah, she's
didn't know
very
that?
much trying. She's gonna die on the hill, right? And a lot of liars, compulsive liars, do this because
Deny.
they've gotten out of things so many times in the past by lying. They've gotten out of, but by almost just exhausting people with their lies, so that people are eventually like, okay, whatever, dude, whatever. But once again, this is a police investigation. Somebody is dead, and these detectives are not going to stop until they get to the truth. So you cannot lie your way out of this one, which is what he's trying to. But this is another thing. It's like, how horrible can you be? You orchestrated and planned your mother's murder. You were there. You got the knife. You got the gloves. You let him in. You brought this person in knowing what he was going to do. And then you're like, please don't tell me she died of a heart attack, officer. Like, it's so gross. And I'm saying this is like an hour in. So I do have to give her credit. She's got some resilience
That's
here.
nothing. I've had to go 6-7 hours before
Well,
they break.
for somebody who's got such, low emotional IQ and somebody who's, got, like a 15-year-old, you'd expect that she would have broken by now. But
Yeah.
she is hanging in there. Okay? She's going
She
to.
miscalculated though.
Yeah.
Knowing what was going back and forth on the DMs, she should have said, if I get caught, I'm going to go immediately to, we had to do this for my own safety. To go in there and present it as, I'm just completely removed from this, she
Yeah.
loses all credibility going forward. So that was
I
that was a wrong
agree.
tactical decision.
That's what I'm saying, and we'll wrap this up at the end, but that's kind of what I'm saying, because by now you would have assumed she'd been like, okay, fine, I did it, but this is why,
Yeah,
and this is
that's the
valid.
angle.
And yes, and
She miscalculated.
she never says that. Okay, so finally, as you could hear at the end of the clip, she's like, I do know what happened. She's crying, and then she's going to basically finally break. She's going to tell the detective what happened, but she's going to blame everything on Nick, right? He was violent. There hadn't been a plan to kill her mother. He just showed up and he did it. And then he forced her to have sex with him and he forced her to help him clean out the murder scene. Gypsy goes from the beginning of the clip we're about to watch right now, the beginning of this clip, she says she loves him so much, to being absolutely terrified of him during this short clip.
But we gotta get down to the bottom of the why. Okay?
I honestly didn't do anything to my mama.
Who did? Who did?
I don't know.
Do we want to go back to square one? You don't want to do that. Just because we do bad things doesn't mean that other people don't love us. Doesn't mean that your mom doesn't love you.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this, but please don't think I did it because or did anything to my mom because I didn't. Look, Nick and my mom didn't get along very good.
Okay.
But that's all I know.
Okay. So why do you think Nick did this?
I didn't say he did.
Sweetheart, I already know. I've already talked to people, okay? And right now,
He said he hated my mom, but because my mom didn't want us to be together. But I was getting on my mom's nerves. Her nerve medicine was running out. Her patience was getting very thin for me, sticking up for him every time.
so I'm proud of you. You did a good job.
And so I she asked me to stay away from him. And I promised her I would.
Okay.
And
And then
but
what
then
happened?
she just said, well, if you want to go, go. I guess out of love she did that.
Okay.
Because she wanted me to be happy.
So why did this happen to your mom? What was the reason for it?
I don't know. All I know is that
Why didn't it hurt her? Sweetheart, what was his reason behind this? And we're back to that why.
I can't see why. He knows I love my mom. He knows that she's the most important thing to me.
So why do you think he did this to her?
He only said something to me that he said that it's us against the world and that he's gonna protect me no matter what and that we were gonna get married and everything and nothing was gonna stop us.
Okay, even your mom. So he took care of that, didn't he?
What do you mean? I don't think he would ever hurt her. I mean, he's very sweet. He's very kind. I mean, he doesn't like police that much. He's kind of a radicalist, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
But,
Sweetheart, your mom loves you very much. So we're not going to go off on what Nick believes and what he doesn't believe. Okay? But we're going to start talking about why Nick did this to your mom. And you know why he did this. Now's the time to be truthful, sweetheart. No more lies.
the only reason I can think of is because he wanted me to himself.
Okay.
Because my mom kept on getting in the way of us being together.
Sure she did. She didn't like Nick.
Mhm.
She didn't want her little baby girl to grow up. She wanted to keep her little baby girl young, didn't she?
She said that there was something dangerous about him. He had a way of reading people.
Okay.
And she said that he seems like the head in a closet type of person that kind of murders and kills and
Your mom was right.
Jeffrey Dahmer kind of person.
You think your mom was right? You know your mom was right. You hit it right on the nail on the head, sweetheart. You know your mom was right when she said that. You should know what? Okay. And how should you have listened to her? Okay. Should you try to stop him? Was he too strong?
He's very strong.
Was it hard for you to try to stop him? It was very hard for you to try to stop him, wasn't it? He's too strong, wasn't he? Yeah, I see that. Look at me. Did you try to stop him? Okay. Okay. I'm proud of you. Look at me. I'm very proud of you for that. Okay. This is a step in my direction. Okay. How did you try to stop him? Did you try to pull the knife away from him? Was that a yes? I can't guess with your nodding, so that's why I'm asking you. It looks like you're shaking your head up and down. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. What did he do with the knife after all this was done?
I'm sorry that I lied to you from the beginning. I'll tell you the truth all now.
Okay. Good. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Okay. So there's a lot to talk about in this clip. And actually, I was wrong. It's the next clip where she starts talking about how violent he is and how afraid of him she is. But she starts building it in this clip, right? And here's where the why comes in. She says, "This is why my mom didn't want us to be together. He wanted me to himself. My mom kept getting in the way of us being together. Not my mom was horrible to me and he wanted to save me from her. Not my mom was abusing me and he wanted to save me from her. She didn't want us to be together," which isn't that what we kind of said last episode?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that this is the truth. This is why they killed Dee Dee, because she was stopping them from being together. She also tells this detective that she tried to stop Nick. And he's like, "Well, how did you try to stop him? You know, what'd you do? Did you grab the knife?" And she's like, and kind of moving her head. And he's like, "Is that a yes?" And she's like, "Yeah." Like, not. So she's now telling this guy that not only did she not orchestrate this, but when she realized what he was going to do, she tried to stop him. She grabbed the knife, but he was too strong. He was just too strong. And this is all
Why do you have to
bullshit.
say it like that?
This is
Why do
all
you-
bullshit because it's gross. It's gross
Well, I mean,
to me.
this is what they all do. No, this is what they all do. You can't. This is what all these.
Yeah, but this is what they
types of
all
people
do.
do.
This is what all these types of people do. But that's not the way she's being painted and portrayed now.
Well, just to not.
That's my issue.
Not to be redundant in what everything you said, because I'd basically be saying the same thing. Another thing that I noticed in this interview that I thought indicates a level of intelligence that maybe some people don't think of when they think of Gypsy Rose, right? There's a moment there where he does a tactic that may even get past some people who are considered to be smart, where he says something along the lines of, "Well, why did Nick do it?" Or something, and she goes, "I didn't say he did it."
Yeah, exactly.
She stops him right in his tracks. She stops him right in his tracks and goes, "Well, I didn't say he did it." So she's there. she's there and she's
She's
aware
quick
of
with it.
she's aware of the chess match that's going on right now. And once she realizes, and that's why it can take a while, she's not going to be able to weasel her way out of it. And he says things like, I've already spoken to people. She's like, shit, he knows. I gotta change approaches here. And she's slowly getting there. And this is a very common thing. It's not usually lie, then break, then complete truth. There's an evolution. It usually starts with a softer version of it, maybe even present themselves as a victim as well, maybe even someone who is trying to prevent it like she's doing now. It takes a lot of versions to finally get the truth out of it. It's a very long, exhaustive process to do it. Exhaustive, is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this isn't something that happens in a matter of seconds, but overall, my grade for this detective, truthfully, A+. I really, he's going back and forth between the, telling her he's there for her, giving her words of affirmation, and then also keeping her on track. This is a young person who is manipulative and a very good liar and likes to get by on her appearance and presenting herself in this kind of, like very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
who's afraid of little old me?
yeah,
I'm
like
super vulnerable. I'm just a
vulnerable
sweet
person. Yeah. And he's not buying it. He's got his ducks in a row. He's confident in what he's putting forward. And I think he's doing a great job.
He is. And I also think it's interesting because he's kind of like pushing her, but he's also giving her enough rope to hang herself.
That's it.
He's saying,
he's her best friend,
Yep.
but also playing detective. He's doing both because she feels a level of trust with him where now she's starting to open up to him.
Oh, I don't think she feels a level of trust with him at all because she would have started opening up long before this. Like I said, you're getting the very, very condensed version. She holds her own against him for quite a while.
She could easily just say, I want a lawyer.
I think she's realizing, damn, I think they know. And he's saying, we're talking to people, but he's not saying who. So in her head, who is she thinking that he's talking to?
Nick.
Nick. He can't say that. He's not going to outright say that because it's not true. He hasn't talked to Nick yet, but he's going to say, oh, I'm talking to people, and and it's context clues. And he's very good. But Detective Hancock once again asks Gypsy, why? Why did Nicholas Godejohn do this to her mother? And she said she knows why. And she starts talking about how Nick had come to town the previous March to watch Cinderella with her. And Gypsy says it hurt her mother, Dee Dee's feelings, because Gypsy paid more attention to Nick than she did to her mother. And so Gypsy claims that Dee Dee did not like Nick from then on. And later, when Gypsy called Nick to talk to him, she said Dee Dee took the phone from her and started going off on Nick and telling him like, oh, you're not good enough for my daughter. You're creepy. It's creepy that you're hitting on my daughter at a family movie. It's worth saying that I don't believe this conversation ever happened because Nick does not say it. He's asked about the Cinderella movie in his interrogation, and he said, oh, Dee Dee was nice. He said Dee Dee was nice. She didn't give me any hard time. But later, Gypsy told him, my mom doesn't like you. Okay? So that's how he came to know that. So now Gypsy says that because Nick doesn't like his name being dragged through the mud, he killed Dee Dee, and that was his way of getting justice and getting back at her for calling him creepy and saying, like, you're not good enough for my daughter.
I love him so much, but maybe I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to silent ways.
Maybe he can.
He killed my mom.
He killed your mom.
Yes, I know it.
How did you do that?
He was supposed to come and visit me.
Okay.
And I thought we were gonna go outside and we're just gonna sit together for a while on the porch. And
At your mom's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he came inside and he started walking to my mom's room, and I told him that we need to go outside.
What was your mom doing at that point? Was she asleep or
She
awake?
was asleep, and I got up to use the restroom. And at that point, he had put me in the bathroom, and he had locked the door.
Okay.
And he went to my mom's room, and I heard her cry. I heard him scream for my name.
You heard your mom crying? You heard your mom crying? And you heard your mom calling out your name. But she was screaming.
And
I'm proud of you,
and
sweetheart.
he opened the door, and he was covered with his hands and blood, and he had cut himself with his fingers.
You know if it was his left hand or his right hand?
It was, oh gosh, I think it was his hand.
Okay.
And what happened was, I had, he commanded me to clean him up,
Okay.
and
How did you do that?
I cleaned things up with wet wipes and,
With like what kind of wipes?
baby wipes.
Baby wipes? Okay. What did you do with those baby wipes?
Threw it
Like in the bathroom trash
in
or
the garbage.
in the garbage? Okay. Was that
Because you don't know how he is.
okay?
You don't know how he is.
I know.
You
I
don't
know.
know how he is.
Listen to me. Go ahead with your story, okay? You're doing good. Proud of you.
And I was in shock. And then he took me to my bedroom. And he made me take off all my toys off the bed.
So it made you take all your toys off your bed? Okay.
And he raped me.
And he raped you?
And then after he was finished, he made me grab my bag. And
Grab your bag?
and my bag to pack stuff.
Okay. What was in the backpack?
Stuff like soap and things. Clothes. He picked out clothes for me. After that, we called a taxi.
Okay.
And
Do you remember what taxi company it
the
was?
Springfield, yellow cab.
Yellow Cab? Okay. Alright.
And I know that helping him clean up was wrong. But he said I had to, and he grabbed me by the throat, and he said I had to.
Okay.
And so that's why I did it. And we took a cab back to his hotel.
Where was the hotel at?
The Days Inn on Kentwood Avenue, North Kentwood.
Okay. So over there by Glenstone Avenue? Okay.
It's like by the Cracker Barrel.
Oh, okay. Alright.
And we stayed there and until we can get a bus, a Greyhound bus. And so we took the Greyhound bus and we came here where we stayed for a few days at his parents' house.
You said that when you were in the house, you guys were supposed to go outside. And him and your mom, what was him and your mom arguing previously?
She didn't know he was there.
Okay, so she had no idea he was there.
All right, so now Nick shows up at the house. They're just supposed to hang outside and talk, but he goes in, kills her mother, rapes her in the bedroom, forces her. Wait, remember, she said he locked her in the bathroom, and Detective Hancock is going to pull this back in a minute. But yeah, it's pretty much she's blaming him for everything now. And there's
How we have grown.
yes. And then she tells him, he even asks her, he's like, oh, can you tell me about the knife? And she acts not only like she wasn't the one who purchased it, but she doesn't even really know what it looks like. She's like, it's long and sharp. That's all I know. He even asks her, well, where did you guys get the knife from? Did you just pull it out of the kitchen? She's like, I have no idea. You bought it from Walmart, Gypsy.
Well, real quick, that's why I know that he's seen the DMs, because if you look at the way he's structuring his questions, he's asking questions that he has the answers to already from the DMs. So when he says, where'd you get the knife from? And he's it sounds inquisitive. Like he already knows the answer. He's trying to gauge her level of honesty at this point, and she's just burying herself deeper and deeper.
And there's going to be, in this next clip, Gypsy's going to elaborate on the story of her mother's death, where she was, what she heard, how mean Nick was, how he bruised her up by grabbing her and dragging her around and forcing her to clean up her mother's blood. And what I don't like that Detective Hancock does, and let me know if this is wrong or right in your opinion, but he's asking her about marks on her neck and her arms. And she's like, these are hickeys, right? And he looks at one of the marks on her arms and he's like, that's not a hickey. That's absolutely not a hickey. What is that? What is that? And she's like, it's a hickey. And then he keeps pushing her and she's finally like, it's a bruise from Nick abusing me, you know? So I didn't really like that because I genuinely think that those marks were just hickeys.
Mhm.
But he's kind of like not taking that. And it's almost like he's trying to get her to kind of lean into this story about how Nick's just this abusive asshole. And you even heard in the previous clip when she's like, my mother knew there was something wrong about him. She knew. She said he was like one of those head in the closet people, like a Jeffrey Dahmer. Like she doesn't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is. You know, she's acting and he's like, your mother was right. Your mother was right, you know? So it's kind of like encouraging her to fabricate more things. And I'm not a super big fan of that. But let me know what you think.
Oh, yeah.
We should take a quick break and then we'll come back and play that clip.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. With convenient packets of Liquid IV's Hydration Multiplier or Sugar-Free Hydration Multiplier, you get 8 vitamins and nutrients, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, and no artificial sweeteners. So they have a bunch of different flavors. I have for months and months, probably actually a year, been drinking the sugar-free white peach. It is so good. And when I say it's so good, I mean, it does not taste like there's no sugar in it. It doesn't taste like bland or, you know, that artificial sweetener taste. It is just delicious and it is so refreshing. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates way better than water alone. It's powered by UV Hydroscience, which is an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. And they are always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. I do love Liquid IV. I love their white peach. I highly suggest you check it out. And Derek's going to tell you how.
Listen, we all know it. The holidays are here. And you may be having some celebratory drinks during these occasions, getting together with family and friends. So make sure you stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use our code CRIMEWEEKLY at checkout. That's Crime Weekly, all one word. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code CRIMEWEEKLY at liquidiv.com.
Okay, we're back. We're going to play the next clip now. So we'll be back to talk about it afterwards.
What did he tell you?
She just said that she had bad talk to him, that she deserved it.
And he says, did he say she deserves it? Or did he say she deserves something else or something different?
Well, he said that
you
he
can
would
use
have,
whatever word you want, no trouble.
he said he would have done way worse if he didn't care about me. He said he wanted to originally rape her too.
Okay. Did you go out and see your mom?
No. I didn't want to. No. I loved my mom so much.
I can tell you did.
I would have known that I don't.
If you would have known this was going to happen, you would have never went with him. When you say you went with him, what do you mean by that?
I would have never gotten involved with him. I would have.
Never had a relationship with him? Okay.
We've been in a relationship for 2 years and 7 months. And in that time, his exes have told me that he's very controlling. And he's into that thing, BDSM, the fetish thing.
That's a sexual thing? Okay.
And I agreed to it, I guess. And I guess it's not nothing wrong with him being a little controlling.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine.
Was all the sex that you had here in this state, was it consensual?
It was consensual.
Consensual, okay. But in Missouri, he forced himself on you. And when did that happen?
After he
Killed your mom. How did that make you feel?
horrible because of her.
Okay.
He said he wanted to marry me.
Okay. How did that make you feel when he told you that?
Happy.
Sure.
Because we talked about getting married before.
But you knew your mom was dead at that time. Is that correct or not?
That is correct.
That's correct. Okay.
So I'm not sure if you could hear because Gypsy's talking very low here, but she said, Nick told her after, the murder that he was going to marry her. And Detective Hancock said, "And how did that make you feel?" And she said, "Good. We've been talking about that for a while." And he's like, "It made you feel good even though you knew your mom was dead?" And she's like, "Yeah." Like she kind of forgot that part,
Yep.
oh,
Ooh,
this is a
got me there.
person. Yeah, this is a person I'm telling you just raped me. Forced me on my knees to clean my mother's blood, was horrible to me. I was scared of him. But yeah, I was happy when he said he wanted to marry me. So this lets you know kind of she doesn't actually feel that way and she forgot herself for a moment and slipped
Yeah.
back into, this is my boyfriend. I love him so much, et cetera, et cetera. And he calls her on that and he's going to call her on the bathroom lock thing as well. So we can continue playing the clip.
I want to protect him. At the same time, I don't really want to do. Because I didn't do anything wrong.
So you never went in the bedroom?
No, sir.
And you said they had locked you in the bathroom? Describe how that happened.
As I was going towards my mom's room, because I was becoming awake. Here, and it's a hallway. And I was like, "Where are you going?" And he put me in the bathroom. He closed the door, and first he locked the door in the way that it locked itself.
Were you inside the bathroom?
I was inside the bathroom.
Okay.
And then,
so he can lock her from the outside?
No, he put it to lock inside, and then he closed it.
So the lock was on the inside
The
where
lock
you were
was
at?
in the inside.
Okay, so how come you never unlocked it and came out?
I never thought about it.
All right, so this is Detective Hancock calling Gypsy out on her weird stories because she's claiming Nick Godejohn locked her in the bathroom. And he's like, "Well, how did he lock you in the bathroom?" And she's like, "He opened the door, locked it from the inside, and then closed it with me in there." And he's like, "Well, the lock was on the inside. Why didn't you just walk out of the bathroom?" And she's like, I didn't really think about it. He's calling her out. He realizes this story is paper thin. It doesn't hold water, right? You weren't locked in the bathroom. Bathroom's locked from the inside. The person inside the bathroom can easily get out, and yet she didn't. So she's making it seem like, oh, he prevented me from saving my mother. But in reality, you could have left the bathroom at any time, but you didn't. And then he asks her, did you know what his intention was, why he was there? And she said, not really. So we will continue the clip.
Yeah, before we do, I think this is the point where it's transitioned in the interrogation where he's more questioning what's happening because the DMs described what was going to happen prior, not actually what happened during there was no play-by-play in the DMs.
The DMs did say, though, he was like, go in the bathroom and, stay in there.
Up to that point.
Yeah.
But as far as
and you'll know
when
it's
it actually
me,
went down.
I'll knock on the door and that's how you know it's me and not your mother. Yeah.
That's it. But as far as how it went down, did she come out of the bathroom? All those little details. He's probably trying to gather that information so that he can relay it to his partner and they can go at Nicholas Godejohn to see if the stories line up. One other thing, because we're about halfway through this episode, and I talked at the beginning about watching these videos and looking at body language, I will say she's covered with a blanket. Ideally, you wouldn't want that to be the case. It might have been cold in the room. I would have said to her, let me get this heat turned up. No blankets for right now. Let's just, so I could develop a baseline. You can't see a lot of what she's physically doing, a lot of those subconscious actions she might be doing, whether it's tapping of the feet, tapping of the fingers, kind of wringing her hands out, rubbing her thighs, whatever, some of the things that I've seen over the years. You can't really see any of that because up to her neck is covered. Now, the question becomes, is it really important? For this particular interrogation, not really, because he has what many investigators would love to have going into it. He has black and white DMs from this person proving that she was involved. In some of those interrogations, we truly don't know if the person's telling the truth or not. So that those verbal and nonverbal cues become extremely important when we're trying to evaluate the authenticity and the validity of what they're saying. Here, he's already got her. I would even call the DMs the smoking gun as far as her involvement in this. So he's working with a set of facts and standards with this case that allows him to not really have to worry about her deceptiveness from a nonverbal perspective because he already knows what she said in DMs. So when she lies about it initially, he's already able to evaluate her level of credibility, and it's at 0 because she's lied the entire time. So he doesn't really need those nonverbal cues as much. So in this particular interrogation, I'm okay with the blanket. It's putting her at ease. It's making her comfortable and allowing her to continue speaking. And that's ultimately what you want.
Yep, so we'll continue on with the clip.
At that point, did you know what his intentions were?
Not really, no.
You didn't know what his intentions were with your mom?
No, I was kind of afraid of him, so I thought I'd give him time to cool off, I guess. And then I heard all the screaming, and I was so scared that I just covered my ears. And I just crawled up in a little corner.
Where were you at in the bathroom? You said you were curled up.
I'm by the tub, like by the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
What were you wearing that night?
I was wearing a white nightgown with flowers.
Did you have panties or shorts or anything on?
No, I don't usually wear panties to bed.
When you were in the bathroom and you heard your mom screaming, can you kind of describe that to me? If you can, try to start from the beginning, the middle to the end.
I heard her wake up, kind of moaning, and I heard her scream.
You heard her moan, then you heard her scream.
And
Can you describe her scream to me? I know that's an awkward question, but
startled.
okay.
And then she kept screaming louder and louder. And then she had said, "Gypsy, Gypsy." And
He isn't who?
Gypsy, my name. She was calling for my name.
Your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think I knew what he was doing.
At that point, you knew what he was doing?
I knew what he was doing, but
And your mom was hollering at you for you?
But I was too afraid to go because I was afraid he'd do the same to me.
So would it be safe that you kind of knew what he was going in there to do when he locked you in the bathroom? Okay. Did he tell you kind of what he was going to do? Did he make a comment or any kind?
No.
Okay.
But while he was doing it,
Now you say doing it. I can't guess. Part of my job is not to guess, so.
killing her,
Okay.
he said a comment. "You won't keep us apart. You won't keep us apart. You'll be dead before that happens."
Where were you standing at? Where was he at whenever he said that?
I was in the bathroom with my hands over my ears like
Okay.
this, and he was in my mom's bedroom.
And that's when he was making that comment. You're not going to stand between me and her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How'd you get these stuff around your neck? How'd you get all that?
They're hickeys.
They're just hickeys. Okay. How'd you get this?
That is a hickey, and that one's a bruise.
Okay.
And then
You're telling me this is a hickey?
Mhm.
You've been honest with me this whole time now. Don't start lying to me now. What is this and how did you get it? I'm a guy. I would never give a girl a hickey on her arm. Okay? How'd you get that bruise? Look at me.
he grabbed my arm.
At what point did you grab your arm?
He kept on grabbing me to bring me around the house. And he made me clean up the drops of blood.
Okay. Describe that to me.
He grabbed my arm like this and said, "Clean it up."
Now, where were you at when he did that? What part of the house were you at?
The drops of blood went from my mom's bedroom all the way to the hall, into the dining room, to the kitchen.
So to weigh in on what you had mentioned earlier about the hickey/bruises, I get where you're coming from, but this is the point where he doesn't know the truth anymore. The DMs didn't describe this. So there might be something here where he's assuming incorrectly that maybe this is a situation where there's a power dynamic and Nicholas was leading the charge. And so seeing the bruise on the arm, I see where he's coming from. Why would you give a hickey on the arm? But to me, and he doesn't know Victor and he doesn't know any of that, but he also doesn't know that, as described prior, they had a pretty aggressive sexual
She
lifestyle
says
as
that.
far
She
as
says he's into BDSM.
he's into BDSM. So I think the bruising, this is just my opinion, is from that, not, and maybe the sex they had after the murder. I don't think he was dragging her around the house based on the DMs,
Yeah.
telling her to clean
Get
up the
down,
blood.
clean up.
No, I think that's probably the rough sex that happened not only at the house, but then at the hotel.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But he might be going down that road thinking maybe we do have a person here who is in their own right somewhat of a victim, even though he has the DMs and he's trying to find out, and he might just be looking at it for what it is, saying, I've seen hickeys before. That's a bruise mark that I've seen during multiple domestic violence cases. He might know immediately what it is. And so he just wants to get the truth out of her, and he knows she's lying left and right. And so he's driving down on different things, gathering all the information. He's going to come to the conclusions later.
What did you think about the other parts of the clip?
Which parts in particular? There was a lot of clips there. There was a lot going on. So what part else as far as the descriptions of the screaming?
Yeah, so she's talking about, because remember we had talked about that last episode
Yeah.
where you were like, is Dee Dee screaming out as in she might think it's Gypsy killing her, or is she screaming out for Gypsy? And Gypsy specifically says, and you'll hear Nick say it as well, Dee Dee was calling for Gypsy to help her.
Yeah, she was being attacked by someone who we don't know if she knew it was Nicholas or not, but she's yelling out for Gypsy. I think she even said in that clip that Nicholas was saying, "You're not going to keep us apart." He could hear that. Was that correct when I heard that part as well?
Yes. So
who knows if that part's true or not? That just kind of adds to her narrative for his motive. I would say that a lot of the times there's truth mixed with fallacies, and that's probably what's going on here, where her yelling out for Gypsy's true and maybe this other part isn't. The truth is we'll never know unless Nicholas confirmed that he said that as well.
wait, which other part? Oh, no, so Nicholas does say, and you'll hear him, he says something similar, but he claims it wasn't him talking to Dee Dee. It was Victor talking to Dee Dee and saying, like, you're not going to come between me and Ruby. You're not going to keep me away from Ruby. But once again, this is the narrative. She was killed. Dee Dee was killed because she prevented us from being together. Okay? And I think that Gypsy really thought if she went with this narrative, that would be enough. That it would be enough. He's the one that did it. She didn't do anything. He did it because he wanted to, what did she say earlier? He wanted me all to himself. That's the way she's sort of posing it. Only when she actually gets arrested, only when she's sitting there with a murder charge, is the story completely different. It was, I was being abused and he was saving me. I needed somebody to save me. It never gets brought up here. The motive is always, Nicholas is in there killing her mom and he's saying to her, you're not going to keep me from her. Not Nicholas is in there killing her mom saying, you will never hurt the love of my life again. You will never do this to the love. You're not going to keep me from her. This is the story they both have to tell. This was the motive. This was the why, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have no rebuttal. At no point have they said that this was done because Dee Dee was a threat to Gypsy's life.
Never.
It's been very consistent. It was because Dee Dee was going to keep them apart.
That's very consistent. So towards the end of the interview, Detective Hancock, he gets up to leave and he gives Gypsy a chance to come clean. He says, is there anything else you want to tell me? Anything about you? You didn't know this was going to happen. You didn't agree to it. And she says, no, sir.
I didn't do anything wrong.
You never killed your mom?
No.
Never touched her with a knife?
No, never did, sir.
You never agreed? Told him that you knew he was going to kill her?
No. I never...
What do you think he's going to tell me?
He's going to tell you that I came here just to see him and that he didn't do it. But...
So he's not going to tell me that you had any part of this?
Honestly, I don't know what he's going to say.
Okay, I'm asking you direct and straight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think he's going to tell me that you had anything to do with your mom's killing? And this is the time to be honest, because like I told you, to walk out that door.
He has a romantic notion of us doing everything together as a team, but I didn't want this. I wanted my mom and him to.
So did you kill your mom?
No, no, sir.
Did you help
No, sir.
Nicholas kill your mom?
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you have knowledge that Nicholas was going to kill your mom
No, sir.
before he did it?
No, sir.
Yeah. So right there, self-explanatory. He's going back to this to say, you know what? Let me give her another shot at telling the truth. Because I have these DMs that are in my office on my desk right now where she's planning this whole thing out, from pre-cut tape to knife to gloves to how you're going to come in to watch the squeaky door. And she looks him square in the face after saying all these things about Nicholas Godejohn, and he asks her, and he frames it in a way where he knows it's a lie. Did you have any knowledge that this was going to happen beforehand, even if you didn't help with it when he was there? No, sir. No, I didn't. And that, my friend, proves you're a liar. And that's what he's going for. He's like, I can't trust this girl.
Exactly. And so then he leaves, right? And a lot of time goes by. They speed it up and you see Gypsy in the room and she's crying and laying down and sitting up. And so a lot of time goes by. Detective Hancock kind of goes in and out. He's asking some clarifying questions. And then after speaking to the other detective who was interviewing Nick and getting some more information, Hancock returns and confronts Gypsy with the truth.
Talk to your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of stuff you're leaving out, girl.
Like what?
Well, I'm not going to get into it with you, okay? You're leaving a lot of stuff out that you need to probably tell me. Do you want to talk to me about it? Tell me about it?
Sure, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
You planned this with him, okay? You didn't get locked in the bathroom, okay? I'm not stupid. First of all, the lock's on this side, so you can't get locked in there. Okay, you went in there because you brought that knife into the picture. You brought the idea into the picture.
I didn't bring the idea.
You did bring it into. You brought the whole thing in the idea.
No.
And he did it for you.
No. Okay,
Yeah,
no.
he did. Okay? So, the lies, they're done. I'm not going to sit in here all night long.
No, I won't give you like, I did not think of this. I know that he has a evil side, and he did want to do it.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that.
He wanted to get rid of my mom.
Yeah, for you.
Yes, for me.
Yeah, because you asked him to.
He wanted to.
Yeah, because you asked him to. Plain and simple. Gypsy, we're not playing this game, okay? You asked him to. That's why he did it. Okay? Plain and simple. We're not playing this game. I'm not going to spend all my night long listening to your lies anymore. You told me the truth on some things, but you left a lot of stuff out. You left a lot of stuff out. So we're not playing this game, okay? He's already told me everything. Everything.
We're both trying.
The knife was mailed. You guys mailed it here, okay? We know where the knife's at. So the gig's up. You're done. It's up. You're done. You're done. You hated your mom?
I did not hate my mom. I did not hate my mom. I loved my mom. And
You would have never done this to your mom.
He needs to tell you that I honestly have been having horrible, and I didn't want to do it, and he said that he would commit suicide if we didn't. Yeah. Did he tell you that?
Yep. Yep.
I said that it was a bad thought that I was thinking, and yeah, I don't think that we should be doing this.
A lot of people think about stuff, but when you act, that's when you cross the line, and that's what you've done. You acted upon it, and he acted upon it. So, okay, we're done. You're obviously going to keep telling me lies.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
All right. Now you're going to be booked in for, later on down the line, you're going to be booked in for probably murder, okay? As long as, and with him as well, okay? All right?
I didn't murder my mom, sir.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You did, because you're behind it. You pulled all the strings on it, and you're behind it. Listen, Gypsy, I'm not going to sit and argue with you about it, okay?
All I wanted was to come and get me.
No, that's not all you wanted. There's a lot more to this whole story that you're leaving out. I'm not going to play the sympathetic game. I'm not like that, okay? I can see right through it, okay?
Please, I'm not able to be in jail. I have a lot of medical needs.
I understand that, and they'll get taken care of, okay? So, sit tight.
So, what I take from this, and again, just an incredible job by this detective, but more than likely, he felt this way the entire time. He kept it in check for the first part of the interview.
Because
He took his
he didn't
information.
have everything. Yeah.
He didn't have everything. He takes it. He brings it over to Nicholas. They compare notes. Again, he probably felt this way from the start, but he kept it in check. He played ball with her. He became her friend. He was empathetic to her situation. And as soon as he got what he needed, he dropped the hammer on her. And this is the other side of it, saying, you know what? I gotcha. This is the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the different
He's
side
like,
to
I'm
him.
done with your lies, lady.
This is him pulling off the mask and saying, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I don't need to hear anything else. You were pulling the strings.
Mm-hmm.
You and him are going down for murder one. And that's it.
And you see that in desperation, sir, I have medical problems. I can't be in jail. Oh, you have medical problems when it suits you.
Well, we'll make sure those get taken care of.
Yeah, I liked that part. He's like, don't worry. You will get the best care. But it's like,
that's it.
You don't have medical problems and your mom is abusing you and pretending you did, or you do have medical problems and you're using that to try to get some special treatment.
I want to also say something else that's not specific to this interview that's surprising to me. And I really want everyone else to weigh in down in the comments below about this, because maybe I'm off, maybe I'm wrong, but everything that I've seen from Gypsy and heard about her, I expected to be a much more uneven match as far as the back and forth of this interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion, she seems pretty sharp to me.
I know.
She's quick thinking. She's rebutting things. Doesn't seem to, again, I'm not saying they're the same.
She keeps it pretty solid. Like, yeah.
She's a lot more on the ball than I expected, because I thought I could maybe push back and say, you can tell she's not even comprehending half the things he's saying. That's not how it looks to me. But tell us in the comments, what do you think? Pause it right here. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. What's your impression of Gypsy during this entire interview? Not what she's saying, but just the way she's responding. She appears to be completely aware of what he's saying, when he's saying. She picks up on the different intonations of his voice. She could tell where she's losing him.
Yeah, well, so now we're going to move on to Nicholas Godejohn's police interview. And right from the start, like you said, you can tell that Gypsy's kind of picking up on everything. I don't believe that Nick is. Right from the start, when the detective's going through his Miranda rights, you can tell he doesn't really know what's going on. He certainly doesn't understand the gravity of the situation, and he's approaching it in a very, very childlike way. So Detective Maholi, who interviewed him, she's even talking to him as if he's someone much younger than his actual age, which is 26.
You must understand your rights. If you understand that, then put your initials right there. We'll go through each one of them together.
Okay, because, well, I have a question.
Yeah.
If I may ask. Is it okay if I put it right there after you read them all to me?
We have to do them one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
that's just so I can make sure you understand each of them.
Okay,
Just your initials. Yeah, just like that. Okay, the next one is you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court.
That's a little different than on TV, huh?
Yeah, I told you.
So it's in reference to something she had first said when she came in the room, when she's like, I'm going to go through your Miranda rights with you. And do you know what that is? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, you've probably seen it on TV. And so now he's referring to that. He's like, that's a little different than what I've seen on TV, being on this end of the table. And for about 5 minutes, Nick gives the same narrative that he and Gypsy had agreed on. Gypsy got kicked out of the house. He knew she was alone, wandering the streets. So he took a bus to Springfield to get her and bring her back to his house. Now, Detective Maholi, she stops him in his tracks. She says, listen, I know you're lying. Gypsy's told us everything. At this time, when she said that, it was a lie, because as we know, Gypsy took forever to come clean. She had not yet told the truth, but Nick didn't know that. And unlike Gypsy, he immediately owned up to what he had done. But before we get into that, let's have our last break. I have worked a lot of places throughout my life. Cell phone stores, coffee shops, nightclubs. There's many different types of offices and workplaces out there. One thing's for certain, though, choosing the right candidate for any office or workplace is a huge responsibility. If you're hiring and you want to find the best candidates for your office, you need ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/crimeweekly. ZipRecruiter is the hiring site that employers prefer the most. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology works fast to find top talent, so you don't waste time or money. And you can even invite top candidates for your job to apply. You can encourage them to apply sooner. So it's kind of all in your control. And ZipRecruiter is only going to put forth the candidates that fit your needs. Now, if you want to find the right candidate for your office, you need ZipRecruiter, and Derek's going to tell you how you can check them out for yourself.
Remember, if you want to find the right candidate for your office, you need ZipRecruiter. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. And that web address is ziprecruiter.com/crimeweekly. Once again, ziprecruiter.com/crimeweekly. Crime Weekly is all one word. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Okay, we're back, so we're going to play that clip for you now.
I guess she's your girlfriend, if she's your
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
And you
my-
love her?
Oh, do I ever?
You love her a lot?
I was bummed my eyes out waiting for this moment where I can talk to you because
Okay.
I was so worried about her.
Yeah. I think she loves you too. We spoke to her and for a long time. And I'm kind of thinking maybe she loves you a little more than you love her, because you're sitting here telling me things that I know aren't true. And then she's sitting here telling me things that are true. And if you really love her, I don't think that you would want her in that situation, okay? The situation that she's in right now. And so we're going to go down two paths here, okay? And that is just you're going to have to be honest with me. Because if you love her, if you love Gypsy, then you're not going to let Gypsy get in trouble without you being there to help her, okay?
I understand.
And so what you need to know is that Gypsy told us everything.
Okay.
We didn't talk to Gypsy all this time and not get everything.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so, Nick, I want you to do the honorable thing, okay?
Okay.
For Gypsy and for your family, okay?
Okay.
Because we know what happened. And I want to give you the opportunity to start over and to tell the truth, okay? And the truth is not what you've told me.
How much have I told you to believe is the truth?
I believe the part that you got on a bus and went to Springfield.
Okay.
I believe that's true.
Okay.
That you ordered food to eat. I believe that's true.
Okay.
I believe that it's true that at some point Gypsy came back with you to the motel. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
I believe Gypsy got on a bus and came here with you. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
That's all I believe.
Okay.
Okay? Because you missed a lot in there. And I understand that you missed a lot because you don't know what to say because you don't know what Gypsy said. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you right now, Gypsy did tell me everything. She told us everything. She told us about you coming there. She told us what happened to Mom. She told us about your guys' relationship. She told us about the cleanup. She told us about all of that. Okay?
Okay.
So, do you want to do the right thing by Gypsy if you love her?
Well, the truth is I worship her, so
I know you
there's
do.
no way I wouldn't do it on
I know.
would think for her.
I know you do. I believe you do. But this is the point where you're going to prove whether you do or not, okay? Me and you talk,
Okay.
okay? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to Gypsy for her to be honest and you to lie, okay?
Okay.
So what I want to know is can you tell me this first?
Okay.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
Okay. She felt like if you killed the mom, then that's the only way she could be with you.
Yeah.
Do you know the mom's name?
I don't know her real name. All I know is that she goes by Dee Dee.
Dee Dee. Okay. So, has Gypsy asked you to kill anyone else?
No.
Okay. She just wants you to kill her mom.
Yes.
Okay. And how did Gypsy ask you to do that? Did she ask you to do that in a text message, on a Facebook, or in person, or something different?
Well, it was more than once. I mean, you had Facebook. We would talk about it on there. We would talk about it even on Texas.
Okay. And what kind of things would Gypsy tell you that she wanted you to do?
She wanted, the thing is that I know she loves her mom a lot. I know she does.
Yeah.
I had, I was up here with her, and she felt guilty about the whole situation. I had to make sure she was safe. And meaning, like, I had to make sure she felt like she could be comforted
by you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, and then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
I know. Okay.
The only reason I did it is because I did it for me and her. That's the real reason I did it. I would have never did it if it was not for me and her.
Okay. So you wouldn't have done it if somebody else would have asked?
No.
Okay.
There's no way I would have did it for anyone else.
Okay, so you just did
I
it.
truly do worship her to the point there's nothing I want to do for her.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think you've proved that, right?
Yes.
I think that you've proved that you do what she asked you to do, if that's the case, if she did ask you.
Yeah, she did ask me.
Okay, and she asked you more than once? Did she ask you why you were here?
She asked me more than once.
Okay, so a lot of what he's saying in that clip is things that we know, right? But here's what I take away from it from a comparison point of view. What I just said about Gypsy, surprisingly a lot sharper and a lot quicker and a lot more protected and measured in her responses. Okay?
Calculated, you might say.
Calculated, measured, you use whatever word you want.
Calculated.
We don't see that here. This is not a fair fight. Okay? We know that clinically Nicholas has a low IQ. I think again it was like 82. He's diarrhea of the mouth. He's volunteering information that she
didn't even ask for it.
That's what I'm trying to get at as far as if you're going to compare it to someone, when you're thinking about are they equal? Is one more responsible than the other as far as this actual crime, the murder, right? What's your take on it? And I'm not talking to you, Stephanie. I'm talking to you guys out there.
Of course you're not talking to me. You know
yeah, of
my
course I'm not
take
asking
is.
you. I'm not asking you. Out there, am I wrong? Forget the detective perspective, right? From just a regular person or your part-time detective, whatever you are, watching these two interviews, do you view them equal? Do you see them as the same people? I'll leave it at that. You tell us. But that's my general observation from that first clip. This is someone, it's not a fair fight. This detective doesn't have to do any type of work. This is going to be a very easy interrogation.
She even seems surprised sometimes.
Oh, you did that. You proved that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I stabbed her.
Yeah. He's like,
he didn't even ask.
I did do it. I did do it. Yeah. But, and she's like, I know. You know?
I will say, and we'll never know for certain unless we got to ask them. It does appear to me that it might not have been the same exact time. It's almost like maybe that interview with Gypsy happened right before this.
And you can hear him say, she said, why did you do it? Well, it was the only way we could be together.
Never mentions that I had to get Gypsy out of there.
She was not
in danger.
safe. She was in danger.
Not one time.
Not one time.
Not one time. And this is a guy, ask yourself this, considering everything I just said, do you think he's telling the truth?
And I mean, on top of that, he's caught for murder now, okay? So if he was going to do anything, that would have been the excuse to use. That would have been it. Well, like, yes, I understand I did that, but like you have to also understand the person I loved was in danger and I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah,
Never.
I'm with you.
And I kind of get the impression that it's like Gypsy's almost this cult leader and Nick does whatever. Even when the police officer's like, hey, you have to tell the truth. That's what's best for Gypsy. And he's like, oh, wait, telling the truth is what's best for Gypsy? Here's all the truth you can handle. I've got it all for you. If that's what's best for her, I've got it. And so then Nick starts talking about how Gypsy herself had been wanting to do this for a while, kill her mother. She was going to do it herself, and she'd even looked up ways that it could be done painlessly, of course, because at the end of the day, she loved her mother, and she didn't want her death to be painful or long and drawn out. She wanted to be quick and painless.
At first, she wanted, because the thing was that she wanted to do it herself, but she was too, what's the word, not cautious, it's, I guess skittish is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
She didn't want to actually do it.
Okay.
Because she couldn't live with herself doing it.
Okay.
And, as for, me, I, honestly, to this day, I still feel guilty about it.
Okay.
I do.
Right.
Because I I didn't, because I learned so much about her mom after she told me and more about it after actually being able to live with her for a little while.
Right.
I actually realized how great of a mom she was.
Okay, so it kind of makes you feel a little guilty.
No. I feel a lot more guilt than that.
Okay. Okay, so Gypsy's telling you about her mom.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, how
okay.
she is and her accomplishments and all, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when you came here to Springfield, that was your purpose to come here so that way you could do that for Gypsy?
Yes, because I wanted to be with her and I wanted...
So did Gypsy know you was coming here then to go ahead and kill Dee?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you guys decide that you would stab her instead of shooting her with a gun or poisoning her or beating her with a bat? Like, why did you guys decide stabbing would be what you did to kill her?
Honestly, the thing is we really wouldn't have known how to poison her. Honestly, we wouldn't have known how to.
Okay.
I mean, she looked up multiple times of how to do it because she wanted to find the quickest way to do it.
Okay, so like she looked up on the internet,
Yes.
like how to kill her mom?
Yes.
Okay. And so she was looking for the easiest way to do it?
Yes, this
Okay.
way she would be in less pain. She wanted
Okay.
her mom's death to be quick.
Okay. Okay, so you wouldn't have known how to do the poisoning. And so, again, why did we choose the knife? Like, why
The
did
reason
you...
why we chose the knife is because I guess she thought that it'd be quicker if she bled out quickly.
Okay. Now, did she tell you that, or is that something you think she thought?
Most likely that's what I would think she would think.
Okay, but she didn't tell you to
No.
stab her because she'd bleed out quickly?
No.
Okay.
That's what I figured she would think because it makes sense. More holes, faster they go away and the faster they are at peace.
Okay. So the more holes you put into the body?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding? Okay. Okay. So, so that's why you chose to stab her?
Yes.
Okay. And so how did you get the knife? Like, where'd the knife come from? Did
Yeah.
you bring it with you from here?
No.
Okay. Did you buy it somewhere?
She bought it for me.
Who bought it for you?
Gypsy.
So so you didn't bring a knife from here?
No.
So when you got here, she had a knife?
Yeah.
So did she know you was going to stab her?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever stabbed anybody before this?
No. That's the reason why this was the very only one person I would ever do this for.
Okay. Only person you do it for is Gypsy. This is the first time you ever stabbed anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
My one takeaway from that clip, again, being a little redundant here, not only did Gypsy not talk negatively about Dee Dee, saying that she was going to kill her, hurt her, abuse her, whatever, she was actually talking highly about Dee Dee to the point where it made Nicholas Godejohn feel bad about what happened because of all her quote unquote accomplishments. That's what Gypsy was relaying to Nicholas. Completely the opposite of what you would expect if this woman was such a horrible person.
Exactly.
Now, I want to say this. I'm not saying Dee Dee was a hero. I think I've established that's not what I think. But clearly, this quote unquote victim of Dee Dee's abuse thought pretty highly of her and relayed that to Nicholas Godejohn.
Yeah, I mean, even when she's talking to the police and even the first officer, she's like, oh, my mom and I did this, my mom and I did that. Like, she's talking about all these good memories. And yeah, Nick said, like, I felt bad. I realized what a good mother she was afterwards. So Gypsy's over here like, I'm really sad we had to do this. My mom was such a good mom. She was so good to me. We were best friends. That's weird, considering the narrative that's being fed to us now.
Yeah.
Now, Nicholas also talks about he and Gypsy had sex in her bed afterwards, which he says was very consensual, right? So Gypsy's like, he raped me. But then even after he raped her in the bed, she went home with him and he was like, I'm going to get married. We're going to get married. And she's like, that made me happy, right? So clearly, in my opinion, and I'm not able to say for sure whether it was a rape or not, but in my opinion, Gypsy's literally telling Nick in the text messages like, oh, my private parts are all shaved.
She shaved herself before it. Yeah.
I'm going to be wearing a nightgown, a sexy nightgown. I'm ready for you.
They talked about
but now you're saying he raped you. You will lie and throw anybody under the bus as long as you get out scot-free.
She hasn't told the truth about anything.
She hasn't told the truth about
why should we believe her on this?
anything.
No.
Anything.
No, I don't believe. I always tend to believe a victim in these allegations, but with everything we have, it's just hard for me to take her at her word.
And that's why it's like people are like, oh, you're victim blaming. And it's like, I don't want to, but also I don't want to paint somebody a victim who's not.
But also, Gypsy is a victim of child abuse, in my opinion. I know we don't necessarily agree on that. That is a different issue. That we've already talked about that for 4 episodes. Now we're talking about a murder, and we're trying to decide whether or not Gypsy was someone who was, I guess, a victim in this murder where she was forced to partake, or was she an accomplice? That's what we're deciding here. The child abuse thing, we've established how we feel about it. You may feel differently. That's a separate issue.
Are you talking
Now
to
we're talking
or
about
everybody?
Everybody. Well, you know where you stand, and I think a lot of people know where they stand.
I don't necessarily think that there wasn't
No, I get you.
some form of abuse, but do I think she was tied to the bed, handcuffed to the table?
Yeah, you don't believe that.
I don't, because she never says any of this stuff until after she's charged with murder. And to me, like, anything you say after you're charged with murder that you never said to anybody before, ever.
I don't disagree with that. But so anyone who says we're victim blaming, that's because you are combining the 2 different crimes. Factitious disorder imposed by on another, and murder. 2 different crimes.
The fact of the matter is, if she's going to use a self-defense claim, she would have had to have felt like her life was in danger at that moment. Dee Dee was sleeping. She could have walked out of the house as she had done before. This was not the only option. It wasn't even in the top 10 of options.
Yeah, I'm with you. We can keep going. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, so now Nicholas is going to talk about the murder from his perspective, which is honestly the only perspective that matters at this point because he's the one that did it.
He's an open book.
Yeah.
And he doesn't...
And he's going to tell you exactly how it went down. Exactly.
So when you're stabbing Dee, where is she at?
She's on her stomach.
On her stomach where? On the floor, in the bathtub, or somewhere different?
She was on the bed. Her bed.
Her bed. In her bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. So was she sleeping on her stomach, or just laying there watching TV, or?
Sleeping on her stomach.
Okay, so she's laying in her bed, sleeping on her stomach. Is she covered up with covers, or uncovered, or?
It actually, when I did it, it seemed like, she had her, it was almost like a nightgown on, it seemed like.
Okay.
And, she barely even was covered at all.
Okay.
So, it was easy access to her body.
Okay. So she didn't have a bunch of covers on her. It made it a lot easier to do that. Okay. And so when she's laying there, where's the first place you decide to stab her?
And I just was in a random spot in the back.
In the back, just random?
Yes.
Do you know how many times you stabbed her?
4.
You stabbed her 4?
Yeah, 4 times.
Okay.
The 4th one, I felt it go into, I think it might have been her lungs.
Okay.
It was harder to get out.
Okay. Did it take one hand to get it out, 2 hands?
I had to yank it out.
Okay.
With 1 hand.
Okay. So it did. So the others came out easy, but that one kind of came out harder.
Yep.
Okay. And so, you only stabbed her 4 times? Are you sure about that?
Well, as in stabbing, I stabbed her 4 times.
Okay.
But I did actually cut her one other time besides that.
Okay. Where'd you cut her
On the
out?
back of her neck.
Okay. Did she scream or holler, or?
Yes, she did.
What was she saying?
First she said help, and then she didn't recognize who I was. She said,
Okay.
who are you? And then,
She said, who are you?
yeah.
Okay. And she didn't recognize who you are, and she says help, and then what does she say?
And then she called up for Gypsy, but Gypsy didn't do anything.
Okay. She hollered for Gypsy.
Yes.
And did she holler for Gypsy once, twice, 5 times?
3 times.
3 times? And what was she saying? Can you tell me how she said it?
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
She was like, Gypsy!
Okay.
Yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
It didn't stop me from keep on going.
Okay. You just kept stabbing her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you try to get Gypsy to come in and stab her?
No, I would have never done that.
Okay. So when you say 4 actual stabs, so those are the ones that went in deeper?
Yeah.
Was there some little ones? Or
There might have been, because the truth is I counted the ones that went in deep. I didn't count if there's any other ones.
Okay. So if there's any other ones, you just didn't count those because they didn't go in as deep.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know that 4 of them went in deep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where those 4 deep ones were?
Uh,
Are you counting the one in the back of the neck or not in that 4?
No.
Okay, so the back of the neck would be something different.
Yeah, it's completely separate.
Wow. Really tough to hear. And I believe every word he's saying. And again, to think that she was yelling out for the person who was responsible for her murder, just wow.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times you hear that, and I've heard it a lot over the years, things like that never gets easy.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, I know everybody mourns differently and everybody goes through and processes emotions differently, especially grief. But to know that Gypsy was just kinda going about her life, like, going to Nick's house, telling his mom she's gonna get a job and help cook and clean, and she's chatting with the police officer about Harry Potter. I don't know if I like, hearing my mother scream for me as she was being murdered, hearing that in my head, I feel like that's all I would hear for a long time. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep, I wouldn't be able to eat. I don't know if I could function properly enough to put a mask on for the world that everything was fine. It would take a little while before I'd be able to do that. So, it's just it seems kind of like she doesn't care that her mother's dead. She's kinda happy about it. Like, this is the ultimate outcome that she wanted, and she got what she wanted.
I'm with you. I think she's probably more upset that she got caught than the fact that it happened.
I agree. So, Nick also talks about how they went back to the hotel. They mailed the knife to his house. He said Gypsy filled out the shipping information on the box because he didn't have good handwriting. And this will also give you an indication of how not not a criminal mastermind Nicholas Godejohn is, because he's asked, like, where are the clothes that you were wearing when you committed the murder? And Nick kind of chuckles a little bit and he's like, they're still in my duffel bag. I haven't even washed them yet. You know, it's been days. He murders somebody, and the clothes that he used to commit the murder, he hasn't even washed yet. He didn't try to get rid of them, throw them away, burn them. They're just in his duffel bag, you know, which I get. All right. When I come back from a trip, my suitcase sits there for a good 2 weeks before I unpack it. But these are your murder clothes. So, had Gypsy not mailed the knife back to his house, which they found in his closet at his home, that probably would have been in his duffel bag too. So, he's just not a criminal mastermind. This is not his forte. So, Nick also talks to Detective Mahoney about his evil side, Victor. And it's interesting because she kind of pushes back and she's like, but isn't Victor like a part of you? And he's like, yeah, I would agree with you. He's a part of me. She's like, so who made the decision to even come to Springfield and do this? You know, that was you, not Victor. And he's like, yeah, but you know, Victor like influences me. And Gypsy also has like her evil side, Ruby. And Detective Mahoney's like, have you been diagnosed with this? And he's like, I probably should be because it's been happening for a while. You know, so he's once again trying to distance himself from the murder. He's trying to distance himself from Victor, the person who committed the murder. Now, they go on and on about that a little bit. Nick also talks about how he really didn't do a lot of cleaning afterwards, that Gypsy took those like sanitary wipes, like Clorox wipes, and was cleaning. She was trying to clean anywhere that she thought his fingerprints could be. And he said, well, I didn't want to do any cleaning because I didn't want to like make more work for her by putting fingerprints other places. So I kind of just let her do that. So let's hear some final words from Nicholas Godejohn before we give our final thoughts.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever killed anyone else?
No.
Are you sure?
I know I haven't.
Are you positive?
Yes.
Have you thought about killing someone?
Well, I might have had the thoughts go in my head, but I've never actually done it until it happened to Dee Dee.
Okay. Do you think you'll ever kill anyone else?
I can't see it happening.
Okay.
The reason why at first, I just want to throw this out.
Okay.
The reason why at first I was lying is because I thought me and her agreed on a lie story.
Yeah, most people do agree on the lie story.
And that's the reason why I went with it.
Yeah, I know.
And then I learned that she told everything, so I just let it all out.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why I wasn't sure until she was right or not, because I was ready to tell her right away, but I just didn't know what she did.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to follow along with the full thing, whether it's the truth or not the truth. I want to make sure that I get the full story straight with what she says too. So.
Okay. Do you think you've done that so far?
I only hope I did, because I've told only nothing but the truth.
Okay. If you could go back and change something, what would you do?
I would have. The thing is this is something me and Gypsy have talked about this at least 100 times since me and her have been able to live together these days that she's been able to be with me. I kept on going back, and I kept on asking her, because this is the question I kept on asking her. Before I asked her if she was, I was the one who actually asked her before we even did this killing that happened. I was the one who actually asked her, are you sure you want me to do this?
Okay.
And then she said yes. And after she said yes, that's the rest of the story you already know.
Okay.
But the question I kept on asking her besides that, I asked her, are you willing to risk everything to have everything you ever want?
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why she risked her old life to have one with me.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You didn't really answer my question. If you could go back and change any one thing about what has happened, what would you change?
Oh, how this happened?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Would you change anything?
Well, the thing is I would rather not kill Dee Dee, the truth. Because that's the part that's like the main thing I regret the most of the entire thing.
Okay. Okay, sometimes what I like to do is when people are cooperative and they tell the truth and they tell their story, I like to offer them the opportunity to write an apology letter. Tell me now, if you had to apologize to someone for what has happened, who would you apologize to?
The thing is I do feel bad for Gypsy's family. I really do feel bad for them. I do feel bad for Gypsy. Heck, I feel bad for all Gypsy's friends. There's so many people that...
So you would apologize to all of them people?
I'd try to apologize as much as I could.
Okay. All right.
So I thought it was interesting that he said he had talked to Gypsy and he was basically telling her, listen, are you willing to sacrifice your old life for the life you want? And it kind of made it seem like, I know your old life isn't that bad, but, a life with me would be better. Are you willing to end this life? Are you willing to throw it all to the wind if it means that we can be together? And Gypsy was like, yeah. Once again, no talk about how her life was so horrible. She was being abused. She was in danger. Her mother was going to kill her. It's kind of like, yeah, this is your life and it's fine, but I can give you a better one. Are you willing to sacrifice everything you've had before for your future?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We ready for the final thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make mine straight to the point. I was writing notes this entire time. Here's my takeaway based on not only the DMs and the messages from last episode, but also the interrogation footage that we watched tonight, and my opinion on the mental capacities of both participants, Nicholas and Gypsy. I'm not a professional in this, but I feel like I can call balls and strikes, and most of us can just by watching these interviews. So here's my takeaway. First off, this does not appear to be a self-defense case where Gypsy was in fear of her life, and whether it was immediate or relatively immediate, where she kind of like a Menendez situation where they had to do this in order to protect Gypsy. This does not appear to be the case at all. It wasn't mentioned even once during this interview. And according to Nicholas, Gypsy spoke very highly of Dee Dee before, during, and after. Maybe she threw in some comments here and there, but overall, it was nothing but high praise for Gypsy. So my opinion on Gypsy, not only was she a willing participant in this murder, she was the mastermind. Okay. And as far as Nicholas is concerned, he, in my opinion, was not an equal partner in the planning. Rather, he was an instrument in the murder plot constructed by Gypsy. And as far as his involvement, if not for the manipulation and coercion on a highly impressionable person, Nicholas never kills Dee Dee. Doesn't happen. That being said, Nicholas is a danger to society. The fact that he can be manipulated into doing something like this for another person, for anybody for that matter, even for himself, he's a threat. He's a threat because if she can do it, anybody can.
I mean, not according to him, but yes, I completely agree with you. Anybody who handled him in the same way that she handled him would have gotten the same result. Yes.
Exactly. And so knowing all that, he is a danger.
Well, that goes to the question, who's worse? What's worse? What's more dangerous? The gun or the person holding the gun?
I think they're both very dangerous, but here's the problem. We know that Nicholas is still in prison and has no chance of getting out currently, and Gypsy's out, and that's a problem. So I know we still got more to go. I don't want to go too far into the woods because we're going to talk about more and cover it in our final episode, but that's my takeaway. That's my takeaway. It's not based on anything other than what I've seen and heard with my own eyes and ears.
So here's what I think. I think that Nicholas and Gypsy killed her mother so they could be together unfettered and so that they could have her money, which when you look at it, what, $4,000 or $5,000? Not a lot, but they're thinking they're going to start a whole life with this money, right? They did that. And not until it hit the media, because when it hit the media, what was the most scandalous part of this whole story? It wasn't that this man and his girlfriend had killed her mother. It was, oh my God, we can't believe it. We thought this girl was 16. We thought she was in a wheelchair. What the hell's going on? How do we fall for this? And then somebody mentions Munchausen by proxy. Was this Munchausen by proxy? I think that gave Gypsy the idea to now use this as her defense. That's what I think. I don't think that even occurred to her to say or to use or to claim until she was arrested for murder. And then she sees how the media is portraying it, because that happened very early on. And next episode, I'm going to tell you exactly when that first happened and when it was first brought up. And then all of a sudden, Gypsy is spinning this tale about all these horrible things that happened to her. And once again, not saying that some horrible things didn't happen to her. This would not be, if I could choose the childhood to have, I would not choose Gypsy's childhood. I don't think anybody would. However, I really do think that that's what happened, because why wouldn't you have said anything about it? She at the end when he's walking out, he's like, haha, you'll get your medical care in prison, man. She's begging, borrowing, and pleading. She's throwing everything at him. Nicholas said he was going to commit suicide. I need medical care. I can't go to jail. I didn't do anything. Sir. She's begging him. Why at that point wouldn't you have been like, I was being abused since I could walk, since I can remember. I was being abused. She's got stories and stories for days now. But none of that happened. I think that it was a convenient scapegoat for her to use. And I'm not saying that she wasn't abused, but I don't think she was abused to the point where she's like, killing my mother is the only way out of this. And at the end of the day, that's the crux of the issue. Two wrongs do not make a right. Dee Dee being wrong doesn't make what Gypsy did to her right. And Gypsy basically pretending as if it was self-defense, because that's what's happening. This is not self-defense in any way, shape, or form. She is lucky she got that deal, because once again, they didn't need it to get Nick. We have his full confession, right? He's like, I stabbed her. Okay, you don't need Gypsy's testimony against Nick in order to put him behind bars for life. I'm not sure why they gave her such a sweet deal. I'm really not. But this was not a self-defense case, and nobody can convince me it was, which leads us to the next question of, if it wasn't self-defense, then she murdered her mother for personal gain, a motive of personal gain, which was to live the life she wanted without her mother impeding her from being with Nick.
Yeah, well, and that takes us to where we're going to finish out this series, which now we are in a position where they're both arrested, they're both charged with murder at least, and this is going to be going to trial. So we're all caught up. You guys have your opinions on it. Weigh in down in the comments below. Let us know what you think. We're going to wrap this whole thing up with the trial. Some of you already know what happened. We've talked about it multiple times. Do you agree with our assessment? Do you disagree with our assessment? And if you do, why? So we're going to finish it out. Very compelling case that Gypsy knew a lot more than I initially thought. And I'm really struggling to understand why she was given such a sweet deal. It seems like they had Nicholas dead to rights. They didn't need her testimony. So why give her the deal? I don't get it.
I also just want to say, I feel like anybody who saw her in her police interview would not have a hard time understanding why I don't believe a word that comes out of her mouth now. Because I see how seamlessly and easily she lies, how she does it as easily as breathing, right? And you could say her mother made her into this. Fine. That doesn't mean she's not a liar. It means she's a well-trained liar. It means that this probably now a part of her personality, right? An inextricable part that you can't remove. but it means she's a liar. And so it's very difficult for me to believe anything she says now, especially because her story, even to this day, every time she's on a different podcast or being interviewed by a different publication, it changes, it's modified, it's slightly different. So this is why I have a hard time believing anything that Gypsy Rose says. And I don't think that anybody who watches what just went down in that police interrogation could disagree with me. I really don't.
We will see in the comments. Guys, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for riding along with us through that entire episode. It was a lot. Again, just to reiterate, if you're listening on audio, I think it's possible to do it. You can still hear the interaction, but it adds a different dimension with the video. So listen to the audio, come over, check out the video. Let us know what you think. And if you haven't already, I guess this is the time to plug it. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment on the Apple Podcasts or Spotify as well. We get to see those, read them, follow up with them, and hear your opinions on this case. So until the next episode, everyone stay safe out there. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Good night.